130-pound Cane Corso pressed his head against a pregnant woman's belly. The baby kicked, and from that exact second, he never left her side. Not when she was born, not when she crawled, not when she called his name for the first time. But what he did at 3:12 one morning is the reason this family says he was born for her. A 130-pound Cane Corso did something at just 5 months old that nobody in his family can explain. He pressed his massive head against a pregnant woman's belly. And from that moment, from the second he felt that first kick, he never left. Not once, not for a single day. This is a story of Draco and Stormy. And what happened between them will change the way you see every dog that people call dangerous. Draco came into the family before Stormy even existed. He was 8 weeks old, jet black, with paws too big for his body, and a head that already looked like a cinder block. The breeders said he'd grow into a guardian. The neighbors said he'd grow into a liability. By 6 months, Draco weighed 80 pounds. By his first birthday, he was 110. At 2 years old, he was a 130-pound wall of black muscle with a wrinkled face and eyes that could stare through a door. People in the neighborhood gave him a wide path on the sidewalk. One woman pulled her child behind her the first time she saw him. But inside the house, Draco was different. He slept on the couch with his legs in the air. He was afraid of the vacuum cleaner. He carried a stuffed elephant everywhere like a security blanket and whined if anyone tried to take it. He was, by every measure, a 130-pound baby. And then the real baby came. When Tasha found out she was pregnant, her mother's first reaction wasn't congratulations. It was, "What are you going to do about that dog?" Everyone had an opinion. The neighbor said a Cane Corso and a newborn didn't mix. A co-worker sent her an article about large breed attacks. Even Marcus, her husband, suggested they consider rehoming Draco, just temporarily, just until the baby was older. Tasha refused. "He's family," she said. "We don't rehome family." But privately, she worried. She watched Draco more carefully. She read every article. She consulted a trainer. Then at 5 months pregnant, something happened that ended the debate forever. Tasha was lying on the couch one evening. The baby kicked hard. She winced. Draco, who had been asleep on the floor, lifted his head. He stood up. He walked over to the couch and, without any hesitation, pressed the side of his head against her belly and froze. The baby kicked again. Draco didn't move. His eyes went soft. His breathing slowed. He stayed there for 22 minutes. From that night on, Draco slept beside Tasha's belly every single night. Not at the foot of the bed, not on the floor, right against her stomach, his massive head resting where the kicks were strongest. "He already knows her," Tasha told Marcus one night. Marcus didn't argue anymore. The day Stormy was born, Draco paced the house for 9 hours straight. When Tasha and Marcus finally came home with the car seat, Draco was standing at the front door. Not sitting, standing. His ears were forward. His tail was still. He looked like a soldier waiting for a commanding officer. Marcus set the car seat down slowly. Draco approached it like it was made of glass. He sniffed the blanket. He sniffed Stormy's tiny fist. Then he lay down beside the seat, pressed his body against it, and let out a long, slow breath. The kind of exhale that sounds like someone who's been holding it for months. He didn't leave her side for 3 days. Not to eat, not to go outside. Tasha had to bring his water bowl to the living room. As Stormy grew, Draco adapted. When she was a newborn, he lay beside her crib like a statue. When she started rolling over, he moved closer, resting his chin on the edge of the crib. When she began to crawl, Draco became her shadow. He walked behind her at her exact speed. If she stopped, he stopped. If she turned left, he turned left. If she crawled toward the stairs, Draco would step in front and block the way with his body. Not a bark, not a growl, just 130 pounds of black muscle between a baby and a staircase. Tasha called it the patrol. Every morning, Stormy crawled through the house with Draco 3 steps behind her, like a bodyguard escorting a tiny president. But the moment that made Draco a legend happened on a Thursday night at 3:12 a.m. Stormy was 11 months old. She had been fussy all day. Not crying, not screaming, just off. Tasha put her bed at the usual time. Draco took his usual position outside the nursery door. At 3:12 a.m., Draco began scratching at the bedroom door. Not barking, scratching. Persistent, rhythmic, urgent. Marcus opened the door, and Draco ran straight to the nursery. Stormy was awake in her crib, making a sound neither parent had heard before, a harsh, barking cough like a seal, her tiny chest pulling inward with every inhale. It was croup, a severe case. Her airway was swelling shut. They rushed her to the ER. The doctor said the barking cough was a telltale sign, and that in small children, the airway can close fast. Catching it early made all the difference. Draco hadn't heard a bark. He had heard a change. Stormy's normal fussing had shifted to something wrong, and he had known before the monitors, before the parents, before the cough even became obvious. When they came home, Draco was waiting at the door. He followed Tasha to the nursery and lay down right beside the crib, closer than usual, his nose almost touching the bars. He didn't move for 6 hours. Today, Stormy is 2 years old. Draco is 4. She calls him Joe. It was her second word. The first was Mama. But if you ask anyone in this house, they'll tell you Draco heard it as Dad. She dresses him up. She puts stickers on his face. She steals a stuffed elephant and he lets her, even though he won't let anyone else touch it. She falls asleep against his side every night, her tiny hand resting on his massive paw. Draco still patrols. He still blocks the stairs. He still sleeps outside her door. And every morning at 6:15 when Stormy calls out, he's already there, tail moving slowly, eyes soft, waiting. He's been waiting since before she was born, since the night he felt that first kick. And he hasn't stopped since. Because some dogs don't just protect a child. They claim one. And once a Cane Corso decides you're his, there is no force on earth that will change his mind. Is this love or instinct? Tell me in the comments.